Hey, what's up? It's Miss Lewis, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So look, get out of the frame. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know before we got started the things you are going to need in order to be the most successful doing this part of your outreach resource day. Obviously, you're going to need your outreach resource flipped to Wednesday. This is Wednesday's lesson on surface area without nets. You're going to need something to write with. You're going to need something to be your calculator, whether that's a phone or a calculator or whatever you might need. And you'll also need a highlighter or colored pencils. If you have those on hand, you will see why later in the lesson. It'll be very, very helpful to highlight different things. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Hi, my friends. It's been such a long time since I've seen any of you, and I miss you so much. I wish we could be doing this together in person, but we know we can't control everything that's going on right now, so this will have to do for right now. I know personally I'm kind of a verbal learner. I need someone to tell it to me more than taking notes down and reading something, so maybe if that is you, this might help you a little bit understand everything we're talking about in these packets. So hopefully this is going to help. If you think that there's something else I could be doing more to help you, you can go ahead and at the end there's going to be a survey for you to fill out and let me know how else I can help you. But anyway, so excited to get started today talking about surface area. I love teaching surface area. It's one of my favorite things. As a disclaimer, Solo is sitting on my lap and he might make noises. I'm not sure yet, so it might be just an adventure. So yesterday and in 6th grade, you learned all about surface area using nets. Today we're going to talk about solving surface area without nets. It's a little bit trickier, but I think we're up for the challenge. As a reminder, when we're finding surface area, we are finding the area of the outside surface of a 3D shape. So we're only focusing on the outside of this big prism. So going to that first example, this is filled in on your worksheet, but I kind of wanted to talk it to you, kind of walk it through like we would in class. You understood how we got to each part of this example. So we're given this rectangular prism, right? We know a rectangular prism has 6 sides from the nets we did yesterday. So take a second to think about what makes this difficult. If I know it has 6 sides, what makes this difficult to kind of figure out the total surface area? So when we don't have a net, we can't see all of the faces of this figure, but we know they're there. We only see 3 faces, but I swear to you, the rest of them are somewhere in this figure. We just can't see them. And to make it a little bit easier, in a rectangular prism, we actually know that any face that's opposite of a face that we're given are going to be congruent to each other. And remember, congruent is just a fancy way of saying equal, right? So in order to figure out what faces are congruent to each other, let's go ahead and fill in all the missing side lengths so we're 100% positive about how we're going to solve the rest of this. I went ahead and did this for us. And so we have 3, and I wrote the 3 there, 6 and 6, 12 and 12, 12 again, and then the 3 over here. Take a second. Why was I able to label the side lengths that I didn't know? Awesome. It's because we're using parallel lines. So when I have anything parallel to my rectangle here, I can label it and I know it's going to be the same. Awesome job. So now we've labeled all these missing faces. Now our goal is to figure out which ones are going to be equal to each other, especially because we can't see some of these faces. We need to find one of these faces that we can use to help us calculate the area of another face that we can't see. Let's focus on this front face. It's the one we can see the best. We see all 4 sides. And so I have the dimensions of 6 and 3. Remembering dimensions is just a fancy, fancy word of saying length and width. So I have 6 by 3. We're told that the faces opposite of this front face is going to be congruent. If I go to the opposite face, I have this missing face on the back, right? And I can see that the dimensions are also going to be 6 and 3. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight them because not only are they opposite from each other, and that already makes them congruent, I can see that their side lengths are also equal. All right, now let's look at another pair of faces that are going to be congruent to each other. Let's look at the top. So my top dimensions are 12 and 6, right? And if I look down at the bottom, the opposite of the top, I also see 12 and 6. Not only are they opposite of each other, they have the exact same side length, so I can say that they are going to be congruent. I'm going to highlight those a different color. Awesome job. Now, finally, let's look at this side face. I see a 12 and a 3. And if I look on the opposite side that we can't see, I also see a 3 and 12. So we're going to say this front side and this missing back side are also going to be congruent to each other. Now that I know all of this and I can label all the congruent sides with my colors, I can go ahead and find the area of each face in my figure. So starting with my first area of front and back, the pink that we colored, remembering our excellent work steps we should be doing, they're at the top of each page for you to remember, but I always start with my formula. And I have a rectangle, so I use length times width. I'm going to substitute in 6 and 3, and then I get 18 inches squared. But this isn't our final answer just yet. So this would just be the area of the front face. Remember, we have the front and the back. So I want to include this front piece and this back piece. So I'm going to multiply this by 2 to get 36 inches squared to represent the area of both of these faces that are congruent to each other. Then I'm going to do the same with the top and the bottom. I have my formula, I have the substitution, and I get 72 inches squared, but that would just represent the top piece, right? I need to multiply by 2 to represent the top and the bottom, and I get 144 inches squared. Next, we're going to do the area of the side faces. Same steps, I do length times width, I substitute in, and I get 36 inches squared. But remember, that's only one side, so I multiply by 2 again to get both of the sides here, and that's 72 inches squared. Now I need to find the total surface area, and I'm going to use all my final answers when I multiply by 2 to do that. I'm going to add together 36, 144, and 72. Go ahead, pause this video using your phone or a calculator or whatever. Go ahead and calculate what this total surface area is going to be before we reveal our answer. So the answer is going to be 252 inches squared when we add all of those up together. All right, before we move on, we need to make sure we understood what we just talked about, what you looked at on your page. And if you're unable to answer these questions, I highly advise you to either reread your resource or go back and rewind this video and listen to what we just talked about, because both these questions were answered in one way or another. So the first question is, what faces in the rectangular prism are congruent? That's in your notes. It's also in the notes on that last slide we went over. And why do we need to multiply by 2 when finding the surface area of each face in a rectangular prism? Remember to write these answers in complete sentences. I'd recommend pausing this video, make sure those are answered, send me a picture of your excellent responses, and then we'll move on to our first practice round. All right, first round of practice. We have a cube, and it's like a rectangular prism because it has 6 sides. We can see the 6 sides a little clearer here than that last example. So I have this front and then this back. I have the top and the bottom, and then I have the 2 sides, right? So what makes this a little bit different is when I have a cube, that means all my sides are squares. And if all my sides are squares with the same side lengths, that means all the sides in my cube are going to be congruent to each other. So this time I only need to find the area of one face. So using my excellent work steps, I'm going to do A is equal to side times side. I substitute in 20 times 20, and I'm not going to give you the answer here. You have to find this answer on your own in order to answer this page. So multiplying 20 times 20, what do you get as your area? Make sure you're including your units. And then this time, since all my sides are congruent, I don't necessarily have to add anything together. I don't have to find any other sides. I'm going to take this unknown area we found and multiply it by 6. Why 6, you might ask? It's because there's 6 identical sides with the same area that we have here. Also, side note, Solo is chewing on my hair right now. I don't know if you'll be able to hear that in the video. It's annoying me, but we're moving on. So multiplying this by 6, you'll get your total surface area. And before we move to the next practice round, or not the next practice, but the next practice question, I want to make sure you can answer this question. Why did we only need to know the area of one face? Why did we only find one face here based on the figure we were given? Again, sending this a picture to me for a black. Pause in the video if you need a little bit more time to finish this one round, and then we'll move on to the next question. All right, so now we have another rectangular prism. Just like we talked about since that first example, we know every rectangular prism is going to have, I need to switch to my pen, 6 faces. Awesome job. So now my step B, I'm going to label parts of the figure that I know. Boom, done. Again, I used parallel lines. I have 14 inches here, and then parallel again, 14 inches. I have 8 inches here, parallel, 8 inches, parallel, 8 inches, and parallel on this backside, 8 inches. And the same with the 6. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead again and use my highlighter. Oh, that was Solo sneezing. This is fun, right? Hearing a little puppy, but you can't see him. So now I'm going to highlight the faces that are congruent to each other like we did on that last rectangular prism. And again, I have my front and my back. If I look at the front, it's 14 times 8. If I look at the back, I also have 14 by 8. I'm going to highlight those the same color. You can go ahead and highlight that using your own highlighters or color pencils or whatever you might have on you to make sure you know the distinction between the two rectangular faces. Now, looking at the top and the bottom, I see the top of my rectangular prism, I have 14 inches and 6 inches. And if I look at the bottom, I also have 14 inches and 6 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight those a color as well. We know opposite faces are always going to be congruent. We also can see that by our side lengths. Finally, with the same drill, my side faces are congruent because I have 8 by 6 on one side, 8 by 6 on the other side. They have the same side lengths. They're opposite of each other. They're going to be congruent. Before we move on to finding the areas of these, let's go ahead and figure out, are all the rectangular faces congruent? So we know some of them are, but are all the rectangular faces going to be congruent? I already told you no. I want you to explain in your own words why they're not all going to be congruent, thinking about side lengths in your answer. Go ahead, pause the video, make sure that answer is written down in a complete sentence. All right, once you have that answer done, let's look at our area of the front and the back faces. We know they are congruent in this very cluttered highlighter mess that we see, but we already know they're going to be congruent based on the earlier highlighter we did. So I do the same steps. Area equals length times width. Area equals 8 by 14. And then again, I'm not giving you that answer, but I am telling you, remember to multiply by 2 for your final answer here because I have 2 identical faces. The same with part B, length times width. I'm using the top and the bottom of 14 by 6. And then again, like this last step, you need to multiply whatever this answer is by 2. The same with the side faces. Area equals length times width. Area equals 8 by 6. And then whatever answer you get, again, need to multiply by 2. Adding all those final answers together to get your total surface area. All right, my friends, pausing this video before we move on to make sure you have everything answered as complete and excellent as you possibly can. All right, you still have one more section to do on your practice. Go ahead and try it on your own using your notes, and if you need to rewind this video to see another example, you can go ahead and do that. And of course, you're always welcome to text me for help, send me pictures where you're stuck. And you also have the option of joining Miss Douglas's or Miss McNeely's office hours on Zoom. I'd highly recommend it. Be nice to get some live questions answered. I also have another quick important message, so don't click off just yet. You will see another video pop up in the next few seconds. Thank you for learning with me today. I miss you all so much. Don't click off just yet. Hello, it's me and our favorite little hair chewer and sneezer, and now chewing my fingers. Gosh, if he wasn't so cute, this would annoy me so much right now, but I just wanted to let you know that you should be liking and subscribing, making me YouTube famous. Just kidding, but like and subscribe, just so you can have all the access to the other videos I'm going to make throughout this outreach program. Oh my god, Solo, just stop biting me. I also mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you look at my description right down there, right, there is a Google form, and it's a survey I really would love you to take. It's just kind of asking your feedback on how I can make these videos better for you to help you understand content a little bit better while we're not with each other in the classroom. Thank you so much for watching, and I miss you. Let me know through the Google form or through text how I can help you. Okay, bye!